everyone. I'm Gurjan, aka Gigi.
And I'm Victoria.
And this is Mika.
And this is
A Word at the Table.
Oh my God, that was actually in unison.
Really? I don't believe
so. It was. That's a
Maybe.
first. So it only took the whole year. So, this will be our last wrap up episode for the year. We had a different year, obviously. We were more on you could see our faces. We just had to transition into 2020 as everybody else has. So we hope you guys enjoyed all of our episodes. So I just kind of wanted to do a recap real quick of 2020. So how did you guys feel 2020 went? I know that, everything has changed in the sense of us doing more Zoom podcasts and us having guests and things like that. So how do you guys feel our year went as far as our podcast?
I think it was honestly, in terms of us getting on a consistent basis, it was pretty good for us. I feel we filmed as much as have we ever in a year? I think so, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Or unless our first year, because I know the first year when we were all together, we would do it on a more consistent basis. But honestly, in terms of progress and our editing and just us staying on it, I think we've done so well this year. That's one good thing about Zoom, the resurgence of Zooms, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it was a good year. I don't know, and I feel you guys, I don't think I'm in a better place in life per se, but I feel you guys, no, not that, mentally. This year was a fog, but I feel you guys have been in a...
I was the girl who gave birth. And
I was how? What?
No. That, but
I got a human.
Right?
I've been in a mental fog, I feel all year. But you guys have been I don't know. It's been a breath of fresh air to do the podcast. So I thought it was great. Yeah.
I mean, Nyla's a breath of fresh air. She popped up on all of our episodes.
Right? She's literally our cutest guest star.
Yeah.
Face.
I know. She definitely brought the podcast to life. She was
she's asleep now, so she's not here today because she's asleep.
Yeah, she's you guys need to wrap up this episode because you're dragging it. But yeah, I'm just gonna name our episodes. We did Little Fires Everywhere, Meditation, Hate and How It Conflicts with God, Healthy Boundaries, The Anointed Party, Relationships Parts 1 and 2. We did Monsters Within, Lovecraft Country, Confidence in God and Prayer, and How Do You Define Wellness? So I feel we had a good variety of episodes and different topics.
Oh yeah.
And I definitely like the fact that the last episode we kind of talked about wellness because kind of going into the new year, I think it's good to talk about being well in every aspect, what we talked about mentally, physically, and spiritually, and to be conscious about what you're feeding yourself mentally, feeding yourself spiritually and physically. So I thought that was a good, segue to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So for this year, we, we went through so much. We went through a political divide. We went through all these racial injustice issues that just really just kind of smacked us in the face with the fact that on top of that, we were in a pandemic. So it's everything was shut down anyway. So we had to really zone in, and that was just obvious. And I guess that's something that nobody could ignore. So with all of that going on, how has your relationship with God changed throughout this year?
It made me realize how much God is a protector. Honestly, there's been so much danger around when it comes to racial injustice or just health wise with COVID. This year has been mentally taxing on us as a people and stuff like that. you know, if you do have anxiety, I know it's been like off the walls and stuff like that because we've just been in danger. And like looking back on this year and the fact that I can say that no one in my immediate circle has been attacked with like, you know, the virus or, you know, with any of the protests that we've been to, no one's like been attacked with like racial injustice and stuff like that. Like it just shows that like God really is a protector. Like that's not something I take lightly. Like wherever you put yourself, like he'll pluck your feet out of danger. And like I really do appreciate that about him. I love that about him. You know, right? Because like isn't the world a scary place? Like you really should if you don't have a protector by your side. And I thank him for that.
100%. I'm with you with that all the way. And I think also to me, you know, it just definitely increased my faith. Like I was just like, wow, God just shut down the world. He just shut down the world and was like, have a seat, slow down. And my relationship with God has definitely changed in the sense of like, I spend way more time with him in the morning. Just off the strength of like, I don't have to like rush to get to the train. I don't have to like rush to get ready to go to work. So I've been spending more time with God and it's just been like so great. Like, I just love having that time in the morning just to talk and just talk about whatever. I mean, sometimes I ramble, but like I end up, you know, just, you know.
You love your rambles. It's fine.
Yeah. And like, even in the ramble, he's like talking to you. So just like reading his word and just like getting to know him and just being still. I think that's what this year has really taught me, like just to be still in his presence and like not to always like go to him with like all of these, like, which you can, it's okay if you can't go to him with all these like concerns and things like that, that's okay. But like sometimes just being still in his presence is like amazing. Like I loved it this whole year. I mean, that's like the one thing I would say with the pandemic, the fact, like the quarantine part, I got to be still within God's presence. So it was good.
Yeah. For me, I think one of the things that that just rang so loud to me this year is how much in control God is and how little control I have. Because I think control is something that I have struggled and still struggle with. And it's like everything that I planned for this year, except for my little precious Nyla, everything I planned has just been like, plan what? So I think it's just how much God, like you said, is a protector and he works it out in his way. And like, we don't need to worry about it because he got us. So, yeah.
That protection, man, is crazy. It's just like that grace just be out here.
Yo.
Throwing grace at you. I'm like, what?
I'm not throwing in that shit.
So, how do you guys continue to press into God? Like, what's like your process? Like, what does that look like for the two of you?
Pressing into him. You know, something that I think I beat myself up about this year is the fact that I don't feel like I spend more time reading my Bible. I don't feel like I spend more time praying. But I do spend more time talking to God, like throughout my day, I guess, because I'm mostly by myself during the day, because if I'm home alone. So I think I talk to him in my head, but I haven't actually opened the Bible as much as I used to in the past. And I don't know if it's because like all of 2020 I was pregnant and I didn't realize at the time that my hormones just made me a different person. Like it's after I gave birth, I'm like, oh, I was actually very different this year. It's kind of mind-blowing.
You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't realize it, but I was like a completely different person for most of the year. And then now, you know, I have a baby to take care of. In the morning, I try to, you know, read the Bible, spend some time in devotions, but again, Nyla throws me off schedule. So,
Mhm.
but I think what I do is just like that quiet, maybe internal meditation, but I'm working on actually like setting a time and a place to dedicate to that so that it's more focused. Because I'm aware that it's not the way that I want it to be.
Especially because, like, you are a person who likes control. I know you probably like
Yeah.
scheduled time with the Lord and stuff. Like, even though
Yeah.
you're meditating with him throughout the day, you're just probably like, you know what? No, I need to like carve out some time. Like.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then there's like seasons, like you just had a baby, so that makes sense.
Exactly.
Like, hello, like like I
But
don't.
that meditation with God, that's spending time. You're still like casting your cares
Mhm.
on him. You're still like thinking of him and like including him in your day and stuff like that. I think, you probably just feel guilty that there's not like a scheduled time with him.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And I think like just watching my sister, well, my nephews too, but it's different. But like she does everything like in the morning, like when
Yeah.
my nephew's sleeping, she'll just like do everything in the morning. So maybe you just gotta find your rhythm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
12 weeks into it, I'm figuring it out. Or is it 13 weeks? So 13 weeks.
Okay. How about you, Vicky? How do you like? What's your process with like pressing into God?
You know what? I think, especially during quarantine, I love like seeking out God, even in like activities and stuff. Because like a lot of people have churches with like online activities. Like I'm so mad I missed your pajama party last night. But even things like that, where you just include him in everything, even in like your fun time activity things. I feel like just that fellowship like makes me more aware of his presence in like um in like all facets type of way. Like he's not just like a devotional time with God, time God. He's like
Yeah.
a chill time God. He's like just like seeking him out in all that ways.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think like, sometimes it could even be in like all of our relationships because like even in our friendships, there are some moments where I just end up talking about God. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
happens. So I think that's good to make sure that you have like community that you can talk about God and you can also have fun. Like it doesn't always have to be like,
Yeah.
whoa, like all this
Yeah.
over spiritual things, but you can have
I
fun.
think Nyla's up. I think I heard her.
Oh
She
no.
wants to answer the
But
question too.
sometimes
She's
I
like, let
hear
me
her
talk
and she's not up.
She's like, wrap it up. So
Maybe. I don't know. But Neskin's with her, so it's fine.
okay, good. So how do you remind yourself that your journey as a Christian has to do with having a relationship with God and not like you
Mm,
working towards it? Like, we can oftentimes get into like this like, mold. I don't know what it is, but we could try to like want to do more. Like it's like, I gotta read my Bible more, I gotta do this more, I gotta
I
worship
just did
more.
it.
Yeah. So how do you like remind yourself like it's not about doing. I don't gotta be in like a trillion ministry. I don't gotta like do backflips for God. I just literally have to be his child. Like how do you keep that childlike posture?
That's a good question.
Not
I
be
think,
so hard on yourself. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. My bad. Go
No,
ahead.
that's okay. That's okay. And as you guys were talking, God reminded me, like, remember you used to wake up at 5 a.m. to pray? Yeah, this year, like in the beginning of the pandemic, with my old church, because I'm in Indiana now, but with my New York church, I used to wake up every day and pray at 5 a.m. And
On the
that
prayer
was,
line, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my God. I started doing that too. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
and that was a blessing to
Hmm.
wake up and spend that time and like have that as a starter of my day. Yeah, I mean, I think I am constantly reminded that this is a relationship and it's, including God and being intimate with him and spending intimate time with him.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I think maybe that's what I do when I'm like talking to him in my head in my quiet moments, and even like when I'm home with Nyla, sometimes I do it out loud because it's said, they say it's good to talk to a baby even when they're newborn and they can't communicate with words yet. So I talk out loud like a crazy person sometimes.
I do. I don't even have a baby.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. That you just have to like constantly like remind yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think it's just easy to just like, especially, I don't know what it is, but I guess maybe it's our culture in the sense of just doing and just always having to be like on it, making sure that you're, striving for something else, being goal oriented and all that. So it's just like, you start to kind of blend that world into our relationship with God. And it's like, you don't have to do all of that. Like you can just rest in the fact that you're his child and it's okay. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even if that does happen, like God is pretty like chill. Like he's not like, what?
He's still God, you know?
And I feel like every time you cast your worries on God, which it's a reminder like, oh, I can't do any of this by myself. I need him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think like you mentioned the fact that it's kind of like a part of our culture to be like product driven, like productive, like this is like how we measure our success and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like during the lockdown, during the quarantine, when we were like really in our house, we had to like really remind ourselves that like you can concentrate on yourself. Like it's okay to just like be still. And like us as believers, it's okay to like not focus on like what we're doing for God, but like also look at what God is doing for us internally. Like you can like really look at your relationship and like see how you've matured just as yourself, and like how you relate with your loved ones and stuff like that. So that definitely does help.
Yeah. It's just like so much work that he does in you that like you don't even realize until like afterward. There's so many things you're just like, wow, I got over that.
That's the transformative power of love,
Yes.
So if there is someone that's out there that has like given hope or lost faith, what like words of encouragement like would you have for them, especially like throughout this year? We've just been so blessed, like we all like still have jobs, nobody in our families have been hurt, thank God. But there's like a lot of things that people have gone through. This entire year has been insane. So even I know like believers that are kind of like losing hope. I was just talking to a friend of mine that I was just like, wow, like I'll pray for you and things like that. So like what words of encouragement do you have for people that are there at the point in their walk where they just don't know, what's going on. They don't know where God is, or they don't see God in their situation.
I think, no, go ahead, Vicky.
But like, you know what I'm like afraid of though? Like I'm afraid because like, as you're asking that question, I don't know. Like if I get to talk to somebody who's like really hurt, who really doesn't know God and stuff like that, like I don't know what really to say to a person like that who is that hurt, because like I feel like I'm not like I'm so good, but like I'm so content right now. Like I'm so content that I don't know how to communicate in a non-corny way, like how God can be that, be all for you. So it's like, have you guys ever heard of the term toxic positivity?
Yeah.
So like sometimes I'm afraid that I'm like in that state. I'm just like,
you can do this.
So like you can't relate to someone's hurt and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, like if someone were to really say, hey, I'm hurting, this, that, and the third, I don't know how to properly like explain like the joy of God in a non-corny way,
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think that, like you said, I feel similar. I feel so blessed. Like with everything that I have experienced this year, but I just know that God is faithful, and it is corny to say like, count on him and he got you. But I've seen, I mean, I like you said, I have friends who have been through a lot this year. And one particular friend that comes to mind, like she's been through hell and back, like, and I think, but she has maintained her faith, and that's the only thing that has allowed her to maintain her sanity, because otherwise she would have lost her mind.
Wow.
And I don't know what it is that keeps her faith so strong. And I've told her that, like, I don't know how she does it. But she says, like, you know, if she didn't have faith in God, like, she could not function. She could not get up in the morning. And I think it's just, you really, and it, like, we all go through seasons where, like, you know, our faith, that shakes our faith. But I think holding on to even a sliver of what, you know, you had previously is enough.
Yeah. Like that little tiny mustard seed is all you really need, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to speak to people who kind of share your faith and maybe have, like, you know, trailed off or like are going through tough times and stuff, because they get it. But like when you meet somebody who doesn't know God at all and they come to you in ways that the enemy has attacked them, like valid ways, they're like, oh, I can do this, that, and the third, you can't. I just be like, oh.
Or even the question of why me? Yeah, even the question of, sometimes people say, why me? Why did God, you know, allow me to hurt like this? And why did God bless him that way? And it's like, we don't know the answers to these things. We don't know. Like, I don't know why God blessed me.
That's that peace that passes understanding. Because it's like sometimes I don't know how to communicate. Like you just have to like experience it for yourself. Like I don't like, you know.
Well, with my friend that was like going through, you know, her situation, and she's just like, you know, lost hope, and she is a believer. You know, I guess there's like a different conversation versus someone who's a believer and who isn't. And I think my approach, you know, as far as like encouragement, is one is always to listen. Like I just definitely, you know, I just hear them out. I definitely hear everything that they're saying. I'm there with them, and I'm like making sure that I'm like tuning in, because you know sometimes like somebody's talking and you're just like, no, but have faith, no, but, and it's like, no, just take it easy, listen to what they gotta say. And then you know, I just kind of gave her like I told her I would pray for her. And then I was like, you know, like I kind of gave her something like practical to do, which is something that I do sometimes. I just wrote down, I just told her to write down all of the prayers that God has answered. And one of the things that I've done like my own list, and even prayers for people. Like I have like literally a list of like, oh, I pray for this person, blah, 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 and that happened. I pray for this, blah, 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 and that happened. So and in the process, I feel encouraged. So that's what I told her to do. She said she'll try it. I don't know if she did, but I think the best way to like approach people, whether you're a believer or not, I think it's just listening, and then like, you know, asking like the Holy Spirit to help you guide you in that conversation. Because I did too. Like when she was talking, I was just like, Holy Spirit, please move, like guide me. I mean, that's me talking to myself. But like, you know, I just ask that. Like I don't rush to like be, you know, the toxic positivity. And I try not to like rush into that, because like, you know, that turns people off sometimes. It's like, okay, but you're all good. Like you're this, you're that. And so it's like, you know, I just try to listen and just like be there with them, if that makes sense. So
yeah. And I think I was gonna say another thing I think is, even if the faith is not there, just start with, what am I thankful for? I can sit up. That's simple. You know, I can breathe. I opened my eyes this morning. I didn't have a machine, you know, to help me move around or to breathe. And it's like, those
my loved ones are alive.
Yeah, I touch my hand and I can feel. Because there are people who don't have that. They don't have feeling in their body. I have a roof over my head. I'm not on the streets. Right. I can quarantine inside. I don't have to, you know, be in a tent outside. Like just those, like if you start just naming things that you're thankful for, to me that helps me like realize how much God is present and how much, none of it is anything I did to deserve this goodness.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think it's just like trying to change your perspective on things, because I think you can always look at everything that you don't have and like dwell in that, or you could just look at the things that you do have. And I know that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But like,
we never have enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's just like literally just changing your perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone's out there that is feeling, discouraged, we just pray that like you do take the time out to let's look around and just try to see things that you have taken for granted, or something that like, you can be thankful for. Just try to just change your perspective. So anybody have any last other things they wanted to say or mention?
I mean, I just thank God for the pandemic brought a lot of devastation to the world, and even to my world, but not necessarily my immediate circle or immediate family or friends. Like I know a lot of people who passed away, like from my church, or even like from work, hearing, oh, so and so passed away from COVID. But I just thank God for seeing us through this year. I thank him for just having this podcast as a platform. Mm-hmm. Like who knew when we started this, was it 2016?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. That, we would have, I would be in Indiana away from New York, or that we would have a pandemic that we're going through, and this would be like, one of the things that would help me throughout this pandemic. Like, I don't know. I'm just thankful for all of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, this podcast, like sometimes I literally listen back to things and I'm like, oh yeah, that's some good advice.
Right? Yeah. A little gem at the table. Okay.
So
I do the same. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's everything anyone else had to say. We just want to say thank you for staying with us throughout this whole year. Whether you commented, liked, or just followed us, just thank you. And we pray that you just go into the new year with like positivity and blessings, and we just hope the best for you. I'm trying to think when we'll come back. We'll figure it out after the new year.
Yes.
Yeah, but this will be our last episode for 2020, and we just pray that you got something out of it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. And thanks for all the people that joined us for certain episodes.
Yeah.
It was great. Catherine, Rev Kev, it was just some really good episodes. So we hope that it blessed you in some way, and continue to follow us on social media, and we'll be back. We'll stay in tune.
Yay. All right, guys.
All right, y'all. This is a word
at the table.
It wasn't as good as the previous one.
First one was really good. We hit that. But yeah, y'all. Stay tuned. See you in the next year.